What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be trying to get this engine into this guy. I don't know if we'll get to it today, which we should, but first things first, I got to switch over some of the parts here. This guy, the outlet or the inlet for the thermostat cover, I had to order a new one of that because it is offset, as you saw in the last video. It has a point backwards for the Wolverine. And then we have to switch over some of the wiring. Like this is the hookup on the Kodiak, and this is the Wolverine hookup. So we have to swap over the wirings, pull off the cover for the stator and the pickup coil and all that. And the oil filter, we have to swap that over as well. So I'm gonna get into it and start pulling everything apart and swapping things over. So let's go ahead and do that, and I will catch back with you guys afterwards. So as you can see, I have everything torn down, and I am gonna have to order a gasket kit. I mean, I don't have to, but it'll just be easier to get a whole new gasket kit, at least for this engine, and clean off all the paper gasket, put a brand new one on there, because I could just use gasket maker. I'd rather not, just it'll be easier to throw a new gasket on. But I swapped over the oil cooling for the oil filter system. That was fairly easy, just this single nut bolt that you undo. The old engine that was open clearly had water in it, so even though when I bought it, it was inside a not barn, but like a garage workshop, they must have left it outside, or the shop previous to it did, because I mean, the outside of this motor looked great. The outside of this motor doesn't look great, but the inside, someone took good care of the motor for this engine. Granted, yes, it's covered in dirt. It looks not the cleanest. I've tried washing it, engine degreaser, all that, pressure washed it. Still looks the way it does, a lot better though. But the inside is our main concern, and seeing how well that looks compared to this, I will say that's fantastic. The other thing is the transmission. I was testing to make sure everything spins the right way when we put in the right gear. This one, when I put it into high, it was like clicking, clacking, and just making weird noises. Put it in reverse, it would go in reverse, and then it would stop and lock up. So this lower end, no matter what, I think has to be split, torn apart, rebuilt, or same thing, just garbaged. And if somebody wants to try and rebuild it, they can. Otherwise, it's a good thing we just ripped this out and got a whole new engine. So I'm not going to throw on the cover just yet. I'll probably just throw it on temporarily, but I want to clean it all up because it doesn't look too great under here, but otherwise everything is the same for the most part. Just the coils are the only thing different, is the hookups for the computers and everything. So we'll just swap the cover over the whole thing. And then same thing with the water pump. And you would think, why would I take the water pump off if the cover is gonna be changed out? Because there's one bolt here and here that you can't get to unless you take the water pump off, because it covers up the bolt. Yeah, look at all that water mixed with the oil. So we won't be using that filter. We'll probably continue using the same filter, or just get a new one. We'll probably just get a new filter. So the water pump's gonna get changed, or water pump cover is gonna get changed over. However, yeah, the water pump's pretty solid. Yeah, no play. It's all good. That's busted on that one. That one's the same plug as that was. We already changed this one over. The next thing I want to do is the starter, because even though the starters look to be about the same, Nah, I'll leave the starter because the starter is still good on this one, so I'll leave the starter alone. I might take this starter and keep it as a backup because it's always good to have a backup starter. The only difference is the positive is hooked up here and the positive is hooked up on the back of this one. Otherwise, starter still works. Everything's good. Might just keep that one as a backup. Anyways, let me get the new gaskets and I will catch back up with you guys once I have the new gaskets and the other parts, because the other thing is I need the stud bolts for the exhaust, which you can see I broke this one off when I was undoing the exhaust from the Kodiak. However, these bolts or holes are used for the Grizzly and Kodiak exhaust. These bolt holes are used for the Wolverine. So I just have to clean out these and we're good to go. So I don't have to worry about that in there. What's the other thing? Oh, right, this line was leaking with oil, so we'll check that, double check that. Otherwise, swapped over the dipstick tube already. So once we put on the new cover, we'll run the oil lines back again. And then I think that's everything to throw it back into the... Yeah, we might just take this hose because it looks like this hose is newer or been replaced at some point. So we'll take it off of that engine, put it onto here. And then we are, I think, almost good to go and throw it back in. So yeah, let me catch up with you guys once I get the new gasket. All right, so it's a different day. Got my gaskets, just cleaned off all the edges for the new engine going in and the old engine's case to go on the new engine. I also picked up some oil and an oil filter for once we put it all together and get it back in the engine, we'll fill it up with oil, or back in the frame, we'll fill it up with oil. So for now, I'm gonna throw the gasket on, put it together, and replace that one hose I was talking about for the oil. Once we do that, we're fixing to set this thing back in the frame. So let's get it all back together. Okay, so everything is swapped over that needs to be swapped over. As of right now, just put the oil cooler lines back on. Let me grab the filter, throw the oil filter on, and we're gonna try and drop this bad boy into place. So let's see what we can do. In place. It is in place. Look at that. The engine is in. Now we just have to hook everything up. We have to do the clutch assembly, put that all back together, connect all the wiring wherever they all have to go, put the exhaust on, intake, all that fun stuff. So we're gonna just do a time lapse of all that going back together. So So everything is pretty much hooked up except for this, I think mounts under the bed or something. And this wire right here, I don't know where it goes. I don't know what it's for. So I'm probably gonna end up looking this one up. But otherwise, everything else is good to go. I'm leaving this cover off just in case for right now. But I am gonna have to get a new radiator hose for these two lines right here, from this one to that one, because the one I have from the, well, it's from that engine, from the Kodiak, is just 1 inch too short. So I have to go get a longer one of it, this one. So I'm gonna go get a longer one of it right now, fill everything up with fluids, hook up the battery, and it should crank over and just fire right up. And we'll have no issues. So let me go get a new hose and be right back and figure out where that one wire goes. Found it. It's for the seatbelt. So, cool. Alright, so all the wires are hooked up besides the seatbelt one. Alright, let me go get the hose. Put oil in it, put coolant. Now we're going to crank it a few times to get oil and the coolant moving. Then hook up the fuel pump and it should just fire. That is, of course, if the battery is not dead. Guess what? Battery's dead. Hook up the fuel pump. This bad boy should just start. Man, that battery's dead. Test. Let's see if it goes reverse. Ah. Hey. What? All right, cool. It fires up, it goes forward, it goes in reverse. That's way better than what it did. I think I'm gonna call that video here because it's probably pretty lengthy. So next video is gonna be getting everything pieced back together, center console. I have a bed that I found for sale that I'll probably just go pick up just to get it together. And yeah. We'll be fully back together in the next video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed so far. Gonna have to fix that one leak for the coolant. I'm gonna probably have to get another hose because the hose I bought was very rigid. So I think what it's doing is it's pushing the fixed unit kind of off a little bit, so it's leaking, but no big deal. Replace that, put everything back together. But otherwise it fires up, which I'm very happy with. Didn't do it before, so cool. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video. Be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already, because I don't know when I post videos. I used to try and keep it on a schedule. I post them when I post them. So be sure to look out for the next video of this guy together, and we're going to be driving it around because I got to go clean up that mess back there at some point. So, alright, catch you guys later.